I'd like to start by saying good morning to everybody who has joined us, and thank you for joining us for our latest Helpful Folk webinar, where our aim is to enable business owners by putting topical experts such as ActionCOACH in front of you. Today's topic, as Tim was saying, is 6 steps to grow your business. And the reason that we're putting this webinar on today is that after a period of uncertainty and lockdown, many business owners are taking this opportunity to reevaluate their business and adapt to the changing times. And what's become clear is that businesses who set themselves apart by innovating and investing for growth will be the ones to thrive. So at Folk to Folk, of course, we can help you with the investment aspect. We've invested more than 430 million into businesses throughout regional Britain in the past 8 years. Our loans start from £100,000 and are secured against land or property. But it's our guests today, ActionCOACH, who can help with the growth aspect. Their acclaimed 6 steps has been helping businesses around the world to pivot, grow and thrive for more than 30 years. As Tim said, we encourage questions during the webinar. Please don't feel shy, ask anything at any point during the session today. But it gives me great pleasure to introduce Tim, who is Managing Director of ActionCOACH in Devon and Cornwall, so our local representative down here in Cornwall, and Phil Ball, who is a national ActionCOACH coach. So over to you, Tim.
Okay, thank you very much, and apologies for the false start there. But it's a wonderful introduction, and we're really grateful to be here. We're really grateful to be partnering with Folk to Folk for this event. So thank you very much, much appreciated. So where was I? I was on the 6 steps to growing your business by ActionCOACH. As you have heard from Varian, 30 years, this is the formula that we have used with clients around the world to help them improve their business. Now, ultimately, we work with businesses who want to grow, who want to achieve more than they are achieving at the moment. So we will look forward to understanding, where do you want to improve in your business? And we can do that straight away. Okay, so the first bit of engagement is in the chat box. Okay, where would you like to improve within your business? And as it goes on, we're going to refer back to them, but just take 10 seconds or a bit longer, however long you need, to just type into the chat box below, where would you like to improve?
Hey, we're straight off the bat, Tim. Belinda's come in, more sales.
More sales,
revenue
excellent.
Growth.
Okay, we can talk about some strategies for increased sales. Fantastic. Okay, well, if you can just shout them out as I crack on, Phil. So that's just the opening slide. And we're going to go on to what we call a generalized principle here in ActionCOACH. So we have a number of philosophies really that really guide our coaching and guide who we are and how we work with clients. And one of them is called the point of power. And I'm going to talk you through the point of power now. As you see in front of us, you've got a yellow dot. That yellow dot is the point of power. And you've got behaviors that are above the line and you've got behaviors that are below the line. Now, if you have a look at blame, excuses, denial, and you've got a drained battery, it doesn't take a rocket science to see that that's the negative stuff. All right, that blame, excuses, denial. Instead of those thoughts, excuse me, I'm just going to admit Tom's coming into the room. Instead of those thoughts, what we do is we encourage you as business owners and as people to get above the line into that taking ownership, accountability, and being ultimately responsible for your business. So you are the owner of the ship. You are in charge of steering it. So, and everything that falls below comes back to you. Now, we'll talk how you delegate those responsibilities as we go on. Okay, but that frame of mind, that mindset is really important to us at ActionCOACH and really important even in this webinar now. Are you passively listening, maybe taking the odd note, maybe not that interested, maybe just in the background? Or are you, okay, well, I've come to 45 minutes, I've given up 45 minutes of my time, here's my pen, here's my paper, right Tim, right Phil, what have you got for me? What can I take away from today that I can action straight away into my business? And we promise we're going to give you some things that you can go away and do immediately. So for you to take ownership, get them down in writing, and really stick to them afterwards. All right. Phil, do we have an update on the chat box? Do we get any more coming through?
No, just that seems to be quite popular, the more sales and more revenue that comes in with that, Tim.
More sales and more revenue. Okay, perfect, because that's what we like. We like people who want more sales and want to build their revenue. So fantastic. Here we go. The first slide here that we're going to talk about is our definition of a real business. Now, the way that Action Coach works is we use this definition: a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. So you are building an asset that you can sell or you can keep going, okay, but it ultimately will provide wealth for you. Now, there's a lot of people who love doing what they do, or they're landowners, or they're really linked to the business themselves, and so they don't want to be removed from the company. So the definition for today is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works with or without you. So that without you, that enables you to go on holiday for 2 weeks and the whole thing doesn't fall apart. Okay, we're dealing with a lot of people who are just coming in to their business. They've been around for 2-3 years. They're experiencing growth, and what happens is they're so linked to the company that they can't go on holiday. They can't take a weekend off. They can never switch their mobile phone off. And it's this structure that we're going to talk to you about today is how to eliminate that and move away from it. And here it is. Here are the 6 steps as they unfold. Now, we're going to be working our way up the staircase today, and you might be at different stages of this staircase, and that's absolutely fine. So take what is relevant. It's all about what is relevant for you, and take your own action points from this. But we're going to start at the bottom. And I'll be honest, I worked with multiple clients, and we are still always really working a lot in the bottom when it comes to mastery. And I'm going to go through that now. Okay, but the mastery section is really getting some fundamentals in place to allow you to grow your business. I'm just going to click through this. If you just see the buzzwords on the side, you've got stability. So that mastery, let's build the foundations. Let's get some stability. Niche is more, how do you actually going to get out there and market? What makes you different? We're going to discuss that. How do you increase your sales? Okay, thank you for the people who put that into the chat box. There's plenty of strategies we have about that. Okay, now leverage is when you're putting in systems. Okay, and Phil's our systems expert. He's going to go through that. And then you're building a team. Ultimately, if you want to build a business, you're going to have to build a team if you really want to grow. And I know there's a lot of stigma about that. There's a lot of people who I feel sit below that line. Blame and excuses. I've spoken to somebody yesterday who said it's really, really hard to get exactly what they want because their position is so niche and it's so hard to recruit for that they haven't done it. So I asked him a few more questions. It turns out that he just hasn't done it. So for 2 years, he's said that it's impossible to get somebody, yet he hadn't actually applied. He actually hadn't recruited that job because in his head, he was like, I just need somebody who is so special. Anyway, I found that really quite interesting. And that mindset is not alone. As we move up, running this business and structuring it the correct way, ultimately your business is going to be worth more and more as you do it. Okay, and then at the top end of business, you've got selling your business, or you've got, getting the passive income from it. And what do you do with that wealth? Which is a really interesting concept. So we're going to take you through all the different stages here, which is ultimately for your personal freedom. Because if you're in business, you're not necessarily in business to do 80 hours a week and be paid poorly, I would imagine. Okay, so let's crack on, and we're going to have a look at what is mastery. Getting these 4 areas down pat are really, really crucial. We can help you with different strategies for what to do here. The first one is just knowing where you want to go. And this sounds really obvious, okay? And you'll have probably been to loads of business seminars and everyone's talking about goal setting, okay? And make sure you get your goals down in writing. But the truth is, it actually works. I've been in business for now 10, 15 years. Before that, I was in high performance sport, and Phil's got a background in high performance sport. The people who are at Wimbledon at the moment, they set goals to be there, and they had a plan, and they stuck to that plan to get to Wimbledon. And it's the same for those people who are really, really successful in business. They will set themselves a goal and they will stick to it. Now, obviously, things happen and you have to be flexible. That's fine. But knowing where you want to go is really important. So have a think about, where would you like your business venture to be in 1 year's time? Think about where you'd like to be in 5 years' time. And once you really explore those thoughts, you start, well, how do I actually get there? And that's when you can start prioritizing your time. And you can break it down to 90 days. What do you have to do in 90 days to get to 1 year? What do you have to do in 2 weeks' time? So it's always thinking about the bigger picture, breaking it down into different measures. So destination, understanding that, we have lots of different strategies, lots of different things we can do to help you make sure you understand where you want to go. Financial mastery, obviously this seems really, really obvious, but know your numbers. And which numbers do you know? So every client that we have, make sure you understand cash flow. Where is when is the money coming in and where is it going out? Because it was the lack of cash is why 96% of companies do not last 10 years in the UK. So 4% of companies that start up this year will make it through to 10 years. Think about that. That's quite a lot, isn't it? Okay, there's a lot of people who are not making it. And often it comes down to finances. It is the language of business. So we do have to understand it. So what dashboard are you using to frequently study your numbers? Businesses that we work with, sometimes when they come on board, they're only doing their accounts once a year because they have to. And they have the odd conversation with the accountant at the end of the year. So we encourage weekly or monthly reporting, cash flow, balance sheet, profit and loss, your budget, and actually study them, because the more that you study them, the more that you'll make decisions based on facts, which is really, really, really crucial. So understanding where you want to go, understanding your numbers, you can understand the importance of this. Now, time mastery, I would say time mastery is the thing that I work on most with people. People come to me and they're working 70 hours a week and they're a bit miserable because they're not getting the results they want. And I ask them a few questions, a few more, and it turns out they are doing the most ludicrous things in their business that they do not need to do. So I used the example this morning. I work with a building firm. They turn over £4 million a year. The director employs 45 men. He didn't do a task that we were discussing because he got called out to empty the skips last week. And I just thought, mate, if you're the director and there's a £4.5 million turnover, and you've got 45 men, how are you doing that work? Okay, that isn't a job for you as the director. So one thing, and you can do this now, if time is an issue for you, if you feel like you don't have enough time, I recommend just audit it. Spend 2 weeks, be really, really self-disciplined with this. 2 weeks with a pad or a pen and paper, and it follows you everywhere. And everything that you do, record every 15 minutes the activity and be completely honest. That includes a phone call to your mum during the day. Okay, that includes doing the WhatsApp group with your friends about the football tonight. All those things, be really, really truthful to yourself. And I assure you, if you do that for 2 weeks, you would find there's things that you're doing that you don't need to do. So for me, time mastery is really about learning the skill of prioritization. What is important to you? What are the important tasks? What can you delegate? And then that goes back to the destination mastery, doesn't it? Okay. Okay, I've got a comment here from Jody. So it's always tough for business owners to become managers of people as well, used to doing everything themselves more often than not. Absolutely. And there's a kind of a fear factor of letting go. And I think Phil's we'll cover that when we talk to kind of the systems. But again, that comes down to, Jody, in my experience, is where do you want to go? Because if you do want to grow that company from 1 person to 5, 6 people, you're going to have to let go eventually. So what will help you let go? Normally, it's making sure that your new positions are really, really, really clear. People really understand what they do and what is required of them. But yeah, understand how big do you want to go. It's, you know, it's a personal journey, but you're absolutely right. They're used to doing everything and they always feel that they can do it better than everyone else. That's the standard line, okay? Which is not always the case. Last one on mastery.
Just quick one on that, Tim, because it's a really good point that Jody makes there. As
Yep.
we're in the middle of our businesses doing, you know, quite often, as we talk about a bit later, the rainmaking activity and architecting the business for the future. Hey, look, there's two types of delegation. Which one are you using right now? Okay, two types of delegation. Here's the thing to write down. The first one is show me first before you go ahead. Okay, so there'll be lots of us out there that need to see it first before it goes out there. I'm a little bit nervous about this, about letting this go. Show me first before you go out there. That is option one. Option two is here's the task. Let's discuss the results. Okay, so have a think about which choice you're making at the minute, and how many of those tasks and opportunities can we take from one into section two, because that is the first stage of delegation. It's saying, right, there's the task. Come back, let's discuss the results. I'll help you, I'll coach you, I'll support you as the business owner on that particular task that you've delegated. Tim, I thought it'd just be quite useful to share that. So two types. One is show me first, off you go. The other one is there's the task, let's discuss the results.
Fantastic. No, thanks for adding that, Phil. That's great. So there you go. There's a bit of delegation tips. The last piece of mastery we discussed is the delivery mastery. Whatever the service or the product that you sell, how well are you doing it? How well are you delivering that product? And so recommend just go put yourselves in the shoes of a prospect who's walking on the street, and all of a sudden you're marketing to them. And so they respond to the marketing, they phone you, they go on their website, whatever it is. Okay, what is the process from them, from that moment through to using your product, follow to after sales? Are there any areas for improvement in that whole journey from their perspective? And then you do it again from your own perspective. Do you have a consistent way of delivering your product? And a lot of people go into business because they're good at making something, or they are good at a skill. Okay, so they have a lot of pride in this area. But from a business perspective, you know, selling, we're talking about sales, there could be 8, 9 touch points before you get to this beautiful product that you're selling. And you know the product is beautiful because you made it yourself. Okay, but the mindset is how are you getting people to buy it, which is different. So you might need a different process. You might need to be more comprehensive, but again, review it and be honest with yourself. Moving on to that mastery, as you can see, you know, these multi-million-pound companies, we can work for months, even years on content within those mastery sections. The niche is really understanding how you can pitch yourself in the marketplace and not have to rely on just being the cheapest. Why do people buy from me? Oh, because we're the cheapest. If you are the cheapest, you are likely at some stage to find that someone else will do it cheaper. If that's all you've got. So you have to think about what else makes you special. Now, I would challenge you now just to think of a few brands that you really like, and a few products that you like buying, and a few companies that you really respect. And I would probably put money on that none of them are Poundland or Quick Save. Okay, they are products that you probably really, really like and prepared to pay a bit more for. Okay, down here in Cornwall, there's the outdoor brand Finisterre. Okay, and everyone kind of wants to be like them. Okay, their jumpers are 180 quid, so they're not the cheapest at all, but people still buy them. Okay, so how do you make yourself a brand that can be bought regardless of price? Not regardless, you know what I mean. Okay, unique selling proposition, USP, what makes you different? And you may have to ask your customers this, because you might have a perception of why people buy from you, which might not actually be the real reason. So the thing I do with my clients is that we actually go out to their customer base and we actually survey them. Why did you buy this product? What do you need within this industry? What do I do that no one else is doing? Get some information from them, because every time I've done that exercise, the business owner learns so much about their customer base. So there's one thing you can action, you can do that straight away. The second thing is a guarantee. How can you guarantee your service? Because when it comes to sales, and sales is the buzzword because we mentioned that in the chat room, okay, your conversion rate, which Phil will talk about later, will increase with a guarantee. So if you have to pitch to people, or people have to make a decision whether to use you or a competitor, if you come with a guarantee, the kind of guarantee that people are interested in, chances are you'll be more likely to win that deal.
You hear that dog?
Yeah. Might just have to mute Belinda, Tim.
Oh.
I can't hear the dog though, Belinda.
Belinda, I couldn't hear a dog. I thought you were one if I was a dog, if I was talking like a dog, got a bit paranoid there. Belinda, you're muted. Okay. Okay. So that guarantee, really, really important. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Phil. So they are the first 2 steps on the 6 steps. And Phil,
yeah,
over to you, my friend.
Cool. Thank you very much for that, Tim. Look, so team, we've covered the 4 key blocks of mastery there. And that, as Tim mentioned earlier on, eliminating the chaos out of the business, getting a real flavor to how we operate, how we make money, and where the opportunities are in terms of our time and the general direction of the business. Now, the key thread that underpins the whole of the 6 steps, okay, not just this early phase, okay, is test and measure. So any questions that are coming in, like if it's about guarantees, of course, we don't know what the ideal guarantee is right now, but we would go out to the marketplace and we would test and measure those guarantees. We would test and measure the titles of these webinars, for example. Anything within our business, we would ensure that we've got strict testing and measuring in place. It's absolutely key around all those areas. So we've done the mastery phase. We're now kind of into that stage 2, where we want to create that predictability. We want to create a sense of, okay, let's build a system, let's build a machine that we can just start to work on, to start adding to the customers and adding to those areas within the business. So Tim's driving. Tim, you've got control.
I'll be honest, I'm just doing examples of guarantees in the chat box here, mate. I'm getting really carried away thinking about my client that I'm helping at the moment. So give me 1 second and we're getting back to test and measure.
Yeah, we'll come on to, there's a couple of guarantees I'll mention in the next area. Okay, so as business owners, I'm sure if we asked a simple question out there to the majority of business owners in the UK, they'd be able to articulate quite happily that how many customers they've got, how much revenue they're making every year, and what their profit is. Come on, guys. We're not going a day and a week and a month without knowing that kind of key information. Okay, so that's really cool that we know that information. However, the challenge today, okay, is that information is vital. Of course, it is the blood flow that keeps us going within the business. However, there is a really key sequence of actions and activities that happen before those key areas. So as Tim's bringing that up on the page, just keep yourself on the left-hand side for a second, okay? And you'll see the red words, like we just said, customers, revenue, gross profit. Really, really important, okay? But we're working on what's happening before that. So what are you working on? What's before the customers? So lots of people today put in, right, we need more customers. You sit in a meeting and we say, team, we need more customers. Right, okay, that's great. And a fantastic start to the meeting. However, what we need to work on, okay, in that phase of getting new customers is, right, how many leads have we got? So what's the number of leads? What's the opportunity out there? And everything that comes, by the way, team, before customers is that marketing element. And we obviously go into more detail around marketing. This is making it a lot more predictable. So it's about understanding how many leads we've got. All right. So on the right-hand side, we've put ourselves in at 4,000. This is just an example. I encourage you to take this away, digest it, take an average product, service, wherever you're at, take an average. You could even take a department and just work on that to begin with. We even had a van company, which is now floated, EDS Couriers, which actually did 5 ways on the 17 vans that they had. And each individual van had its own separate 5 ways. So there's many ways that you can take this and run with it. So number of leads, 4,000, makes a lot of sense at the moment. We convert 25% of those. That gives us 1,000 customers. Okay, so we then get them to transact with us 2 times a year, and they're spending on average 100 quid. Okay, in this small business, that gives us a revenue of £200,000 a year. All straightforward for the maths today. We're compounding, so from left to right, we're then compounding it as we go north to south. Okay. Then we've got 25% gross profit margin. We take that obviously out, and that gives us our £50,000 gross profit. So the 1 in 4 there. Quite simple. So that is the basic. If we were to go, right, we're going to work on some strategies now. So we're not just going to work on customers, we're actually going to work on improving the number of leads. So as we go through to the next section, we're going to say in this area, we work on the 4,000. Okay, and we're just increasing that 4,000 by 10%. So would it be fair to say that if we work together for 3 to 6 months, we'd be able to increase those leads by 10%? We've got 86 strategies, okay, to work on number of leads. And team, it's never been simpler, by the way, to work on number of leads. As well as it's never been simpler, it's never been easier for us to invest our hard-earned finance into these strategies. Could be Google ads, could be companies that we pay for to get leads. Okay, they're always going to give you these opportunities. What would we say? Test and measure, build the strategy. Conversion rate. Tim mentioned earlier on, guarantee. So if we want to guarantee our services or our product to somebody else, how confident are you in that? Do we have to change a little bit of that product and service to meet the guarantee? That's totally cool. We can do that. So a really interesting guarantee. I know Tim's put the Domino's Pizza one in there. There's a roofing company that we worked with, and they're competing with all the roofing companies in the local area. And they're all putting on these roofs. They're all very similar, and they're all offering a pretty similar service, right? This is quite popular in all the fantastic trades we've got in the UK. Now, how do you differentiate yourself, and how do you build a really cool, classy guarantee? Well, one roofing company that we work with up in the north decided to offer 2 things. Okay, one of them, okay, was when we're working on site and we're working in your garden, close to your family home and where you spend some time, we will ensure that we do not use any bad language. If we use bad language, this is a guarantee, by the way, they write this down. Okay, if we use any bad language, we'll give you all your money back. Okay, then the second thing they did was the company took that responsibility and gave it to the individuals on site. So yes, it takes a little bit of working out as business owners. We have to work that with the people that we're working with, but the language comes down. They're not using the bad language, and that's a guarantee. So you buying a new roof, you're actually going, do you know what, this is a pretty cool, unique thing. I've not seen this before. So they added that. They also added, we'll leave your garden cleaner than what it was before when we arrive. Now, providing they haven't got 3 container skips that they need to get rid of, typically you might have had to remove a few extra items, but they're leaving. So, you know, building in that guarantee, really, really crucial, is what sets you apart from your competition and eliminates, the kind of opportunity for our competitors to come involved. Because if we're competing on price, it's a marketing concern that we've got. So above that is customers. Simple stuff to kind of.
Phil, can I just add the guarantee that we're talking about? Because we've got a comment from Jody, who loves the bad language guarantee. They came out of the survey that we did with that company. So they surveyed, what do you find frustrating about the roofing industry or the trade industry? And they got so many replies saying, we don't like bad language in front of our kids. And they've been in business for 20 years, and there's no way whatsoever they would have predicted that answer came back. Never even crossed their mind at all. Now, the second one was a bit more obvious. People are really scared of builders coming around and leaving a mess behind. They kind of knew that, but those were the 2 standout on the back of the research that we did with the company. So it's not It's not completely random, just so you know. There was a thought, there was a process that went behind that. And they're like, well, if that's what the people want, that's what we're going to give them. You know, and they're hugely successful on the back of it. But it is ingenious. It's really different. I never heard of it before, but that was because of the survey. So anyway, Phil, there you go.
Thank you very much, Tim. Yeah, excellent stuff. So we've got the customers, we've improved the customers there, and then we take average transactions per year. So they were transacting 2 times. We're now just for the sake of adding the 10%, we're getting them to transact a little bit more often. So we've all got the customers out there. We've all got the database that are investing in your fantastic products and services right now. How do we get them to come back? Well, firstly, we have to interact. We have to engage with them, right? So we're talking to our customers within our network every 90 days. It's got to be 90 days these days. Yeah, there's so many platforms that we can interact with them on. Okay, we ensure that we're interacting every 90 days to those people. Then average sale, the average sale value, okay, is increasing. So where somebody is taking one product or service from you, they are now being opened up to the other products and services that your great company actually provides to them. Are we asking the question? Similarly, a quick example, we were working with a law firm, and you know, through the conversations and unfolding all the great products and services they offer, they do wills. Most lawyers will write a will. It's an extra, I don't know, 50, 100, 200, 300 pounds, whatever you want to charge your will at. Okay, cool. How many of your customers that have transacted with you in the last 12 months know that you do wills? Well, I don't know. We're not tracking it. Well, great. Well, let's track it and find out. So how many people they go out there? Okay, not only did they go out to all the existing database and start to make increases within that, because they've already used your services, so it's a kind of a no-brainer for them. They know that you're delivering great products and service. Okay, with every new customer they sat down with within that sales process, they said, hey, look, we can see that you're taking X, Y, Z from us at the moment. Just so you're aware, we also provide this, this, and this. So what is your this, and this that you're saying to your customers right now? Is it mapped? Is it tested? Is it measured? Are you focusing on this stuff? Because that is going to increase your sales. I work with mortgage advisors. Quite often life cover and insurance and this added benefit for the house and this added benefit for the first 6 weeks of moving into your new home can be introduced. And we're just widening that opportunity because you've done all the great things and invest in your marketing to get them into your business. We just start to add, and that starts to put money onto the bottom line. And then probably the simplest area would be improving the margins. Now we all know exactly with a good detailed bank balance where our money's going. How do we start to make tiny little incremental improvements to get that increase by 10%? And as it compounds from north to south, you can see that we put an extra 30,000 in there with 10%. Now, and the interesting slide that Tim's got, and I know he's got one of these, we won't see it today, but it is there, is let's do the 10% increase over 5 years and how that impacts on business. Yeah, we can build that out. It's very, very simple that we take all sorts of business people through to get an understanding. Now, if this isn't directly for you and this is for your team, then the ownership is there, right? You can just take, I've got a customer I work with, just takes the top 3 and that's what they work on. That customer gives it to their team member and they work on the top 3. So you can really shape this to how you wish. And that's the 5 ways. So once we get that predictability, yeah, great, Tim. So once we get that mastery, Tim's covered mastery, niche, that predictability, that 5 ways, I can see that in the next 3 months, we're going to be increasing the leads, which will increase the conversions. We're measuring it. That niche comes in, leverage. Now it's all about leverage. Now it's all working with you or without you. You have the option as to what you want to get involved in. You don't necessarily have to be the rainmaker. 2 types of business owner, the rainmakers and the architects. It's about making the system that can work, okay? The system that can work and build the process so that it saves you time, energy, and ultimately more money. So here's the question for us, team. How many times, just before we go on to that one, it's fine that you got it up, Tim, that's cool. How many times, okay, have we done the job once and then done it again and again and again and again? Okay, if we're doing jobs more than once, we're not building a system for it. Okay, we've just got ourselves kind of a full-time job. So we need to write it down. So every core aspect of your customer journey, write it down, create the system, create the steps, okay, to build through your customer. And then what do you start doing? You start going, wow, I've got 10 steps here, 1 to 5 my team can do, and I might need to do 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's fine. For now, we're building that systemization in. So yeah, quick reference to systemizing your organization. So along with the six steps, and we're going to be sort of lots of information. So keep taking your notes, keep getting into the chat box. If you've got any questions, keep firing those great questions up at us. But the 9 ways to systemize your business. The first 3 take some time. We're not expecting these to complete overnight. Okay, your vision, your mission, and your culture statements. If you want to see any of those, there's lots of great organizations out there that build these and become, core value to how you hire people in your organization. Your SMART goals. Well, your SMART goals, we're all kind of familiar with what SMART goals are, I'm sure by now. However, what's happening in the next 90 days? That's really, really key. We've got 1 year, 2 year, 3 year plans, but what's happening for you in your business for the next 90 days? We build the organizational chart. And do you know what? We build 2 organizational charts. One is the organizational chart right now. And here's a task and a challenge for you. Build yourself an organizational chart. Put your initials, okay, next to each part of the organizational chart. Okay. If you feature on everything, now it's time to maybe take that one item and start to delegate that off to somebody else. Okay, we build that organizational chart for now. We also build it for 12 months time. So what do we want that to look like? Okay, in the future. Positional contracts then sit within that organizational chart. These are the key disciplines we want that person to be working on. And then we need to ensure we've got KPIs in there, key performance indicators. These are the numbers attached to each task within the business. So quick one, with your team right now, or the people that you're working with, or even in fact, the companies that you hire to do marketing for you, how much are you talking about the numbers? Okay, and how much are you talking about just how it's going? So we need to make sure we've got numbers attached. It's really important. How many conversations have you had? How many times have we boosted that advert, for example? How many? Get some records down, get testing and measuring this stuff. Test how-to systems. It's quite simple. Write down all the great tasks that you do within your business. And then we can start to develop the management systems that sit within that and report up to yourself as the business owner. So lots of information there to digest. I do hope you're taking notes. I know Varian's just put a quick note in the chat box there. We were due to finish at 1:45. If you've got a dash, not a problem. Dash off to your next meeting. If you'd like to stick around with Tim and I and Varian, will be here until 2 o'clock. So Tim, over to you.
Okay, thanks very much. Thanks very much, Phil. I think it's just worth just saying these systems that you've just listed here, this is the work of the business owner. And often it's the business owner doesn't have time to do this. So it's kind of chicken and egg. It's where are your priorities? What do you want to achieve? So you go back to that mastery and you go back to destination. What do you want? Do you actually want to employ 10 people and to make 300 grand a year? Or do you want to stay the same? And if you do have aspirations for growth, your mindset as the owner needs to shift into, well, actually, I've got to do these kind of things, as opposed to I'm going to do the graphic designing, or I'm going to do the plumbing, or do, as it were. So I can't state how important it is that someone needs to drive this. And really, your job as the owner, you have a holistic view of the company. These things are really, really important. So again, time mastery. What's really important for you? What are you doing? What are the jobs you need to prioritize? So, but instant systems. If anyone wants a copy of that book, you just have to write in the chat box now. The first person just write me into the chat box. I will send you one of these books. Okay, so take it or leave it. Hang on, that flashed quickly.
Belinda.
Hey, Belinda, congratulations. winging its way to you ASAP. So we'll make sure we get your details afterwards, Belinda. But yeah, well done. Okay, so instant systems, it goes through all of those things. Okay, right. You are most welcome, Belinda. Next one we are looking at is the team. Now the team, it's really just important to do the stuff that Phil's just talked about. Okay, what are we laughing at, guys?
No, you're good. You're good, Tim. You're all good.
That's good, Jody. I like that. Okay, quickest buzzer in. All right. So the team, what I was just touching on there is when you get to this stage and you've done the hard work, really, I think, is the systems. We only have to do them once and then just refine them a little bit. Okay, that is the hard work. That is I think one of the biggest barriers that people just don't get past doing all those systems. And then you can start having this definition of your business. So we call this the business cycle. And the owner looks after the team, and they can do that in different ways. You can write the systems that looks after the team. You can motivate the team, okay? Or quite frankly, you can employ someone who's so good that they do it all for you. So it depends on where you are on your goals. What do you want to achieve? There are people out there who own 20 businesses, and so they check in once a quarter for an hour at a time. That does exist, okay? That's a very small percentage of people, okay? For the most people that we deal with, and most business owners, it's a blurry line between that red arrow as the owner and it's blue being in the team. And hopefully with the information you got today and just the 6 steps in general, it's about kind of moving you out of that team and more towards the owner. So you have an owner's mindset as opposed to a general manager's mindset, which is a little bit different. But the idea is the owner looks after the team. The team look after the customers. So the team are very clear on how to best look after their customers. And then the customers will look after the business with their business. And that looks after the owner financially. And that's when they start building that wealth. And that's when all your years of hard work and working smart, not just hard, that's when it can pay off. And that's when you get to this level of synergy, is when you've actually got something that really works here. This is a serious business, to the point where, do you duplicate it? Do you get another office? Okay, do you move it into county? All of a sudden, do you franchise it? I mean, there's different options, but you have this well-oiled machine that really works. And you've understood it, and you've gone through the journey yourself, which goes all the way to the top, which is your results, which is, okay, you've got a company now that is worth the money to either sell or to keep going. Or what we find that most people, when they get to the top of this, they just start again because they like it. And they are a small percentage of people who have proven to themselves that this is possible. And we go back to that early slide of point of power, taking ownership and accountability. Some people feel that this kind of journey is beyond them, and as a result they don't do it for 20-30 years. Yes, the mindset of people who are like, I am going to sell my business, I am going to build myself an asset, is very different, and they have great results to play with. I'm not saying it's easy, but the key message is it is possible, and it happens to people. And if you want it to be you, great, we can do something about it. Okay, and I'll leave the last bit. You, Phil.
Yeah, excellent. So, I mean, we put this in here as a sharp example of respecting, obviously, Richard Branson and some of the cool businesses that have been created. If you can do one, and we can build one, we can get onto a number of different businesses. It's the point that Richard makes here, with the framework, with the DNA of how business works, and all your fantastic kind of learnings as you go through that. That just forms the basis, right? So when you're working with us, around us, you know, in conjunction with us, however it works, we have that philosophy that you know, there's no reason why you can't take on potentially more businesses and other opportunities, if that's obviously what you're keen to do. So cool. Moving through. So then we've got Belinda. I mean, absolutely electrifying on the keyboard there. Gets you.
I'm sure I hadn't finished by the time that was in the chat box.
No, she was on it.
Yeah, that was quick.
I've ever seen it, to be fair. But look, for everybody, there is a fantastic Friday. Look, Belinda was paying attention. Cool, Belinda. Really appreciate that. And you know what else really helps, Belinda, when we can't see you? The fact that you're, Jodie was eating. It means you're actually there and listening, which is really cool. So the Big Friday Finish, what's it all about? Every 2 weeks, we, as an organization, we used to do this internally, and we just thought, you know what, let's open it out to the wider public and other business owners out there. So we get thought leaders like Andy Bounds, we get Seth Godin involved, we get all sorts of different people from different disciplines, sales, body language. Mark Bowden, you can see on screen there, has done body language expert. We got all these different people there on a Friday afternoon, 3 till 4, when you're just kind of closing down. We've got a free link in the chat box. You can get that for free. Your team members can go back and watch other webinars out there as well that we've also done. So that's a Big Friday Finish. So we encourage you to get involved in that. We look forward to seeing you along. And then obviously we wouldn't be Action Coach if we didn't mention the action that you're going to take today. So it's all well and good, and you know, perhaps the slides will go out and this will be recorded, and that's all fantastic. If you're watching this on YouTube, hello in 2035 if YouTube is around. And the complimentary accountability session is really about you guys ensuring that you're taking the correct action right now. And you know, Tim and I, and there's other coaches around the UK, we've got 210 in the whole of the UK, are just ensuring that, you know, there's gaps and spots in our diary where we can ensure that business owners are on the correct trajectory. So if anyone that's come into our kind of orbit, if you like, you're more than welcome to get on there, take it up, and just say, hey, look, Tim, I've built my 5 ways. This is what it looks like. What are your thoughts? What are your comments? What are your shares? We would quite happily sit down and take you through that. And then that takes us on to the final slide, which is book your session, enroll on your Friday Finish, and connect with us. Stay connected, keep reaching out, keep asking questions. Tim and I would gladly take some questions now. If you guys have time. I know we've got sort of 7 minutes to 2 o'clock. But thank you very much for listening. Really, really appreciate the engagement. Love the engagement that's come through today. Really cool. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Phil. Actually, I've got a question to chuck into the mix. Excuse me. Because we don't know the size of the businesses that are owned by the business owners that are currently online. So what if you don't have a team and you want to take that next step from a sole trader up? And, you know, what often happens is you might be in a situation where you're turning away work because you just cannot take on any more, but perhaps you don't have enough income yet to justify employing somebody else. It's like a chicken and egg situation. How do you negotiate around that position?
And Varen, if you know the business owners that are turning away work, then wow, that is really cool place to be, because you're offering some fantastic products and services out there. But yeah, look, it's a confidence thing, right? And quite often when we're in business, we're on our own. When we start a business, we don't report into anybody else. There could be some people that are investing in our business, of course, but ultimately it's down to us. It's down to us to make that decision. So you're absolutely right. At the beginning, we would look to map it out. So you mentioned there turning away work. We would work out how much work is being turned away. Okay, how much does that look like in the next 6 to 12 months in terms of how much is that going to generate for our organization? We would map out that 5 ways. So how much work could be happening in the next 6 months, and then we can start building some budgets around hiring that first person. So for example, we would get the first place that we start with the sole business owner, the sole trader, would be administration. How much time are you spending on the jobs that we could be investing somebody else to do? So we might start with virtual PA. We might start with hiring somebody part-time. We might start with getting somebody to support in some sales administration. So we would really need to go into a little bit more detail and actually get into the numbers of it. And quite often we would be a client that I'm working with at the moment is thinking about employing their first employee, and the challenge and session that we had the other day was, do we get an experienced one that's going to, you know, mean we have to invest this much, or do we get a new starter, which means we can invest less, but we've got more training capabilities to take involved. They don't have as large a network. So we just mapped it out, right? So we just go through the series of questions that we have just to map that out. And then as a business owner, we're making a strategic decision based on numbers. Yeah, it's not the gut feeling is there, but we're actually making a decision based on the financials. And yeah, we set ourselves the task of really going for it. We've got to make it work, you know, but also that person coming onto the organization has got to make it work for themselves too. So it's quite a long answer, but hopefully it covered the areas that you mentioned, Varian. Was I on mute then?
No, I think Gary was on mute.
Sorry, I was on mute. I leant forward on my controller. Sorry.
Well, I've just said all that and I was on mute.
Sorry, I do just have one final question, which was just, you mentioned about the complimentary session. So is the best way for people just to email you or connect on LinkedIn to be able to follow up on that?
Tim?
Yeah, I'd say the best way. I mean, we've had a great take up from this morning's sessions already, and that was actually via email and via LinkedIn. So perfect. there was a link that I put in the chat box, which takes you through, and you kind of you go to the web and you fill in a form, and then someone gets in contact with you. I mean, we're a small group here. You've got both our emails there, LinkedIn. Just come and say hi, and we can do it that way. But yeah, we've got two sessions booked in already from this morning, which is fantastic. So come and join us. We'd love to help. We'd love to have a sit down and chat with you, get to know you more about the business.
Brilliant. And I guess I would just issue an invitation out to everybody that's remaining on the call that this is your chance to ask Tim or Phil any questions before we sign off. So if anybody has any question either related to what they've covered today, or I'm sure they'd be happy to take a curly one that's of a different type. So feel free to ask any question before we close off our session today. No, it looks like
just a thank you there. Fantastic.
Okay, all good.
Really brilliant.
Good. Yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, Tim and Phil. Thank you very much for a jam-packed session. I know that you go into a lot more detail on all of that, so I really appreciate you trying to cram it into a short period of time just to give our everybody that joined us today a good overview of what they need to consider in terms of growing their business. So thank you very much.
Yeah, no worries. And I think probably the last question, actually, and definitely if we were watching this on the YouTube, if there is a subject of choice and kind of a want from the base out there of people, then just come forward and mention it and let us know kind of what it is that's at the forefront of your mind to do with your business, and we can get it sorted and get it presented.
Excellent. Okay, thank you very much.